Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. And today I just want to talk to you guys about this Steam update that Alex wrote for us, titled State of Deadside October 2021. This update is really nice because it gives us an insight to what's actually going on behind the curtain right now, and it's letting us know what tinyBuild and what Bad Pixel are actually currently working on, which is really cool. This is the better communication that tinyBuild was talking about, and the communication that the team, or the community, really wanted for a long time, so... Anyway, let's take a quick read here. Basically, it opens up with Alex just greeting us and telling us that this is not an official roadmap or feature list. This is a overview of the challenges we're going to be going through as the team ramps up. As he puts it, think of this as a behind-the-curtain look at game development and the discussions happening. He also says let us know in the comments if you want more updates like this. I'll link the Steam update in the description below so you guys can comment and tell him that you guys like these sort of updates, because I'm pretty sure you do. I doubt anybody doesn't want these to happen more frequently. So the first section is how to scale a team. He says, before we can start hiring new members, we're doing an in-depth evaluation of the code with a code development team. They're not going to name this code development team, but basically they have previous experience in Unreal Engine 4 and AA shooters. As he puts it, the idea here is to have a dev team come in and evaluate the amount of work, starting help on the original team, and gradually form a structure within Bad Pixel itself. He says there's a lot of engineering challenges to scope out, and he's going to talk about them now in the netcode challenge. And I'm just going to go ahead and read this word for word. The biggest challenge will likely be the netcode in general. So far, we've discovered that the main limitation for the game comes from server-side code. Things like storage are limited mostly due to this. We do want to give players more boxes and bases. Player count is also currently limited by some fundamental bottlenecks. These challenges are all solvable, they just will need time and resources. Okay, so this is a really interesting section here, where he says that player count and boxes and bases in general all are limited right now by netcode. So they do want to give us more boxes, like I was talking about in my last video. I kind of figured it was a optimization issue or netcode issue because I couldn't see a reason why the limit was there. From a gameplay standpoint, but it's not there for that reason. It's they want to increase it, it's just they can't without destroying the server. Same with player count, which means I think we're gonna see increased player count in the future, which is really cool. And then one of the big sections here, vehicles win. But as he puts it, vehicles have been a highly requested feature in Deadside. While I can't speak for the team on if or when, I can talk to you about the back-end challenges that arise from implementing such features. First off, if we talk about ground transportation, the biggest issue is that we would want the server to have authority over the vehicle. The server needs to verify movement of the object and give minimal trust to the peer player. Otherwise, cheaters would have a field day, feeding data into the server, and you'd see cars flying all over the place. For collisions to work properly, a lot of work needs to be done and tested in live circumstances. In its current implementation, ground vehicles would feel very rubber bandy. A stepping stone for this could be vehicles that don't require collisions, floating or flying ones. So expect a stepping stone before ground vehicles would be considered. The second challenge with vehicles is building a system that binds passengers to the objects so that everybody is moving in sync. And third is game design. There needs to be lots of thought put into how vehicles would spawn, where they are kept, how and if they decay, and most importantly, where to go using them. I anticipate both netcode and vehicle challenges will collide and require work under the hood, so we will need to balance that with other features that can currently be done without issues, i.e. new locations. Okay, there's a lot to unpack here. First of all, giving servers the authority over the vehicle. I know other games have had issues with this, where vehicles are flying around, because, like he said, cheaters can just feed the server information. And again, it's just that netcode challenge, because there's a lot of things limiting the server code already. Adding in something really complicated like vehicles for the server to deal with, obviously just can't be done because it's super rubber bandy. So it looks like they're looking to do floating or flying vehicles first, which is pretty cool. I kind of always thought boats would come to Deadside before cars. I don't know why, I didn't have a reason for that. I know some people probably won't be happy about flying vehicles, actually. I've seen some people just say they don't want helicopters to be in Deadside. Personally, I don't get why. It's obviously going to be a very hard thing to get. It's going to require upkeep, probably. I would think so. I just don't see why not. You know? It's an endgame tool. They require a lot of effort to maintain. It just adds more to the end game to Deadside, which is kind of, you know, what this game needs. I'm sure it would also be just very useful to have. I'm guessing it's going to have some sort of storage. So if you're doing a base raid, you can just plop your helicopter down while you're looting, throw all the stuff in the helicopter, and then fly away. Because I'm sure some of you guys know after you've raided, you're pretty limited by what you can actually take, unless you're doing multiple runs back and forth. So having some sort of vehicle there, and I'm sure ground vehicles will fill this role as well when they're implemented, and boats even maybe too, I'm not sure, but flying ones are just going to be more expensive. You could also go hit things like cargo drops faster, stuff like that. It's a dream for me to be able to fly a helicopter in Deadside. I love flying helicopters in other games. I used to fly helicopters like a madman in Battlefield 4. And a lot of other games too. Arma, any game that has attack helicopters, I'm all over them. So I really like boats too. If they added boats, they would obviously need to unlock those northern islands, and they would also need to add something up there. That's what he mentions in game design. There needs to be places to go to actually use these vehicles. You know, who cares if there's boats in the game if there's nowhere to go except the original map, right? They have to have those northern islands with some interesting things there. Not exactly sure what to put there. I have a few ideas, but I'll just leave it at that because there's a lot we need to talk about. So let's move on. The Sniper Ttk Debate. Let me just read this word for word. Like many of you, I fell in love with Deadside because of its gunplay. The only real challenge we have there is to figure out how to increase the TTK by snipers. Nerfing the weapons would be an obvious choice, however it might not be the most fun. We're exploring different options here, from sound design to more ways to med, to more out there ideas like tactical shields. Tell us in the comment what comes to mind when you imagine that. Okay, let's stop there. I'm sure you guys already know how I feel on the subject. Rebalancing breath hold would be good. About more ways to med, that's good, but at the same time, you know, you still need to nerf the snipers because it doesn't matter if you can med if the 50 cal one taps you, right? Not sure how that would work. Maybe there's some sort of stim that makes you take less damage that you could craft. That could be something that's interesting. I don't know how that would... Actually, yeah, that would be kind of cool. Some sort of high tier med that would take a while to craft that would just allow you to not get one tapped. Some sort of like damage stim. I don't really know. That could be interesting. Okay, I see. I understand the more ways to med now. Let's talk about the tactical shield. That's really cool. I kind of like the idea a lot. In order for it to be done correctly, there needs to be a lot of balancing done there, because tactical shields can really screw around with a normal gunplay, which is kind of the idea, but you don't want it to be OP, right? You don't want to shoot at somebody and then they whip out a tactical shield and just back away into cover, because then everybody's going to run a tactical shield. There needs to be risk or downside to using a shield. Personally, I think the shield should actually take up your backpack slot, because I don't really know where else you'd put it, and having a shield on your back as well as a backpack just seems like it'd take way too much space. I think you'd have clipping issues there with the model, so it probably would take up the backpack slot. You could maybe allow the shield user to have a pistol and shoot from behind it, but I don't think the shield should be that good, because at that point people would just main the shield. I mean, people could obviously still grenade launcher you, throw grenades at you. Maybe even some weapons would penetrate the shield, like the 50 cal, because I don't know of any ballistic shield, or at least light ballistic shields that are in use by teams around the world that can stop a 50 cal. I mean, they do exist, but they're so heavy. I feel like if you got penetrated by the 50 cal using the shield, it probably wouldn't kill you, right? Because bullets lose energy while traveling through mediums, so it wouldn't one-tap you. It'd hurt you pretty bad, but maybe it's like 2 shots, I don't know, maybe 3. But yeah, you guys get the idea. There's a lot of balancing that needs to be done here in regards to adding some sort of ballistic shield to the game. But I really, really like the idea. That could provide a lot more depth into the gunplay. That would make things like grenades and grenade launchers a little bit better, because you could just throw a grenade or, you know, shoot your grenade launcher at the person using a tactical shield. But at the same time, groups of players or even just duos can use the shields to push in areas like bunker. I mean, imagine taking a shield through bunker and just slowly clearing that thing. That would be so cool. It would also allow you to not get camped all the time at bunker, because that's kind of an issue there. Raiding would be a lot more interesting. Maybe if weapon durability is ever added to the game, like armor durability, weapon durability, the shield would slowly take damage as it's shot at, so it would eventually break down. So that could be a balancing factor. I'm not sure. That seems like something that's kind of far off in the future, but I really like the idea and I think it could be done well. So next he talks about sound design, specifically the physics behind bullets and how they fly. He says, a bullet flies faster than the speed of sound, especially in sniper rifles, so this is a question of realism versus practicality. If you could hear the pop sooner, it gives you a moment to react to the sniper fire. In reality though, you hear the pop post factum. So he's talking about this in regards to sniper balance. He's basically saying, yeah, if you hear the shot at the same time they actually shoot, you can move out of the way, but it's not realistic. I don't think this sound in most situations will really change the outcome of the fight. I feel like if you don't know where a sniper is and you're being shot at, you're kind of screwed regardless if the shot, you know, you hear the smack of the bullet and then the shot, or the shot and then the bullet. I think it's just not going to change the outcome of the fight. And even if it is realistic, sound still travels pretty fast. You'll hear the crack in the shot right after. It's not going to be that different. I feel like the time to react to those shots are still just about the same, regardless if you hear the sound of the gun firing before or after the shot. So it could be made realistic. It could not. Honestly, I don't think anybody cares that much about sound realism in that way. So it really just depends if the team even wants to bother with making the sound design realistic in that way. Personally, I don't really think it matters that much. I don't think anybody cares about realism all that much in the community in regards to sound, and I don't really think it's going to affect balance at all in terms of snipers, so it really is just preference from the dev team, at least in my mind. So the next section is various discussions. First is raiding. I'll read this word for word. We believe it's the best fun you can have in an online shooter when a raid is happening on the map. We also believe there should be a system that gradually decays bases when an owner has left, so that at one point you could offline abandoned bases. This creates gameplay for both non-confrontational players and eases the servers. This would need to come with more tools to raid. So I do like this idea. Base upkeep and base decay is something that's pretty standard for most games with base raiding. And for good reason, because as it is right now, if you just don't leave your base and only log in enough so that your base doesn't despawn, all your stuff is going to be sitting there, all those items are going to be taking up server bandwidth, your base is physically taking up space on the map that somebody else could use to put their own base down. I feel like if you're actively playing the game and upkeeping your base, this is not going to be an issue for you. But if you're one of those players, like me actually, that will just go a few days without playing, maybe not upkeeping their base, you'll have to worry about getting offline raided, which is fine. As long as you do your due diligence, it'll still be online only raiding. The only time you'll get offline is when you just don't upkeep your base, and maybe there's some timer that can be configured by server admins, like, okay, the base is not going to be offline raided for this many days. I'm not really sure how it would work exactly, but I think that would be better than bases just disappearing if somebody didn't log in. The second thing he talks about here is building. He says we need more things to do in bases alongside building more interesting structures, so adding more structures to base building, and more mechanics that work in bases. And the last thing here is optimization. He says there's already a plan in place for an optimization pass of the game. We will find a time to plan that in as we scale up the team. Not really much to talk about there. Optimization is good, and it's something that needs to happen, and as they scale up, optimization will be faster, so it's a good thing. Finally, he talks about some outside of game housekeeping, making the Steam page a little bit fancier, added some more artwork, redesigned the website. Finally, Alex says that he'd love to hear what we think in the comments, so again, I'll be linking this in the description. You guys can come leave some comments. And then he leaves us with some work in progress visuals, which is cool. First we have some trailer, I think. I've never seen anything like this in the States. This must be a Russian thing. I'm not really sure, but after that we have some cool looking buildings. This is really pretty. I'm not sure where this is, but of course they're always adding more locations in the map. Now that I look closer, there's like playground equipment up front, so I guess this is some sort of school. After that we have some glorious tractor. That is a very Russian square tractor. And then we have some gas pumps, which I think you guys know what that's for. These look really old though. These look like straight up 50s, 60s gas pumps, which is cool. I like that. That might even tie into the lore of the game. I have no idea. We'll just have to wait and see, I guess. And then finally we have some sort of smokestack, maybe? I think that's what that is. I don't know. It looks like it's directly tied to the ground. You can obviously climb up it, maybe. The ladder doesn't go all the way down. Yeah, I don't know what that is, but still cool. So that's all there is to talk about here. This is a really nice article. This is the better communication that the community has been wanting for a long time. There's a lot here to be excited for. It's always nice to know that things are being worked on, and I'm really excited for this partnership with tinyPixel. I'm already seeing a lot of changes happening. I think tinyBuild and Alex himself has a really good mindset for this game. I think they are thinking a lot of the same things we are. I really am confident that this is going to be a good thing for the game going forward, and we can expect a lot of good changes over, hopefully, the next few years. So, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I think the next video on the channel is going to be another DayZ video. It's not going to be as boring as the last one, which is nice. The last time around I had trouble getting some good content for the video. The server I was playing on died, whatever. I think you guys will enjoy it. There's some pretty fun stuff that happens. But after that, I'm finally going to be doing another episode of Love Plays Deadside. I know it's been a long time since I did that, and I've been missing that series. It's a very fun series to film and edit, so I'll have a good one for you guys soon. Outside of that, just subscribe to the channel if you want to keep up to date with things going on in the world of Deadside. I'll keep you guys posted with what I can tell you, and yeah, I'll see you guys later.